Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hands Off Our Children radio show. I'm your host, Cogee, definitely doing it big like we do, making sure that, y'all know we having a great show today. We had to open the show today with some young teens talking about peer pressure, what are they going through, how they making it through it, you know, what some teens can do to get by that peer pressure. And I felt like I had to play that clip before I brung this young man in today that we met last week, me, Shay, and E, you know, and Jay. We had a meeting, and this young man was in the same restaurant that we was in, and he was definitely in his word. He's a young man who's on his way to be a young pastor who's really doing his thing with, you know, far as with the youth and staying focused and changing his life, and he really has a testimony, you know. So I felt like today would be a great show for me, you know, to bring this young man in. We got a great 3 hours today. To everybody around the world, I want to say hello. Much love to you guys. Thank you for the support. I want to thank my whole team right here on the panel, starting with my man E. What's up with you, E?
Nothing much, man. I'm happy to be here as usual.
I hear you. I appreciate you. E, real quick, what do you think about this young man, Shahiem, sitting beside us right now? You know, before I bring him in and we talk to him, what impressed you about him when we was at the meeting and we saw this young man at a table by himself, just praising in the midst of everybody in the restaurant, you know, really in his word, praying, going over his sermon and everything?
His dedication. You could see that as soon as we walked in. And when you told us that you were going to go talk to him and ask him to be on the show, it made sense because you really don't see that from the youth these days. They're not dedicated to anything, right, regardless whether it's religion or, you know, whatever it may be. They're not dedicated, and it was really impressive to see him do that. That's
right. You know, and let me go to Miss Sunshine. I want to say much love to you. I want to say thank you. And you definitely are a sunshine on this show. You're always positive. You always got something good to say, but you always root people on for greatness. What do you think about what we just said about this young man sitting right here in our presence?
I just think it's awesome. And it's such a pleasure to be sitting next to someone like this. And we need positive role models these days.
That's right, we do.
And, you know, I know that he had your heart, you know, while he was sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
I just know it.
Definitely. You know what? I looked over at the table, and it was one of those where I said, you know what? I think I've been assigned to this person. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of young people that I feel I've been assigned to, and a lot of young people that, you know, I feel like that I should say something to and definitely let them know that I got their back, you know what I'm saying, give them some knowledge on stuff. But one thing I learned about dealing with younger people and dealing with youth, you really got to let them, sometimes it's called, you got to go through it to get to it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, now, definitely. That's why I set this conversation up for this man right here, who is not no stranger to the show by far. Mr. Marlon Neal, a.k.a. Bernie Mac, on the show, because he ain't scared and he's going to say what's on his mind. But he's definitely going to keep it real and come with that knowledge. So, Mr. Neal, thank you for coming to the show today. You know you're one of my loved ones on the show, man, as far as definitely trying to help me, you know, bring this good message to our youth and make sure that we can help guide them and shape them and mold them on their way up. So when they up, and they not needing that shaping and molding, then sometimes it's a little too late. They not as focused to change like we can get them right now, like this young man Shahiem. But when we see somebody praising and trying to be on the right road, the right side, the right side of the fence of Christianity, because he's coming in like a baby alligator. You get what I'm saying? He's born and he's swimming, but it's a lot more to that ocean that he's swimming in that he don't know about yet. But when we can catch somebody at this age and, you know, and making these baby steps to become something bigger in Christianity, and we can talk to them about what we see as grown people that's needed for our youth, for them to go out and get them, for him to go out and get them with his message. What kind of message do you think is needed, and what do you think can help him be a better young pastor and come up in the game, you know, where he can really do his thing with truth?
No, that was set up. Now, see, you set me up every time you hold a conversation with me. It's like 3-4 questions at one time. So let me.
But I got to.
Yeah, boy, you're good. You're so good.
I'm
gonna start taking notes when you ask me questions.
But you're good time. Like that.
So dedication. I was listening to dedication, like Ia said. Yes, dedication is wonderful, and I believe you should be dedicated to anything that you want to be part of. That's just right off the bat. But
Right.
when it comes to youth, there are a lot of youth that are participating in religious functions or looking to have a calling on which direction they want to go into.
And we support them.
And I'm with it 155%.
That's right.
Somebody said positive role models. I think that's what you said. Positive role models. You know, the positive role models is what molds and shapes the kids to be who they're gonna become.
Right.
And by having that influence and that great understanding for who they are, knowing who they are and showing them who they are two different things.
Okay.
Like I could look at this young man and say, hey, you know, he looks like he has the temperament and everything it takes for it to be what it needs to be, but it could be a facade.
Bingo.
So you know, what I'm looking for is the heart of what
right.
you say you want to get into,
That's
and
right.
do you know exactly which road you want to travel? Now, I've been in his shoes before, been ordained in 2 or 3 different ministries, PAFW and some other stuff to do with apostolic faith, but you know, no one have ever told me or took me under their wing to say, listen, this is what is to be expected from you. You said ocean. He's in a lake. There's a difference. You go lake, river, ocean. And when you start looking at the ocean's vast. Go ahead.
Let me say this real quick.
Go
you know
ahead.
how we do this real quick.
Go
The
ahead.
reason why I said ocean
Right.
is because I didn't want to limit him right now coming out the gate, because if you saw the way he was praising and the way hold on, he was going after his word. He looks like
Right. Thank you.
at any moment,
Right.
if the pastor calls on him,
Right.
that he's ready to step up to do his thing, which when he steps up to do that,
Right.
you in the ocean.
Right.
You swimming with the big dogs now. You
Well,
get what I'm saying?
well,
the big pastors when you get a shot.
Well, I've had a shot. I did what he did when he was younger. I had a shot.
Right.
You know, and I can come off and rattle off the scripture to you right now, or rattle off. In fact, I got a word. My word is called I've been set up, and I can back it up by every different scripture there is to say what I've been through. But you have to go through your experiences to know who you are. You know, right now he knows where he's going, but the question is, do you know who you are?
That's real
Because when
talk.
you know who you are, then I can listen to you from a retrospect or reverence of which direction you're going into.
Right.
I've heard different pastors always preach, and they come from the word, and the word is this, and the word is that, and all that. You know, and I'm not all into that. I'm into telling me from what it says and mean what it says. But the biggest thing is when you speak in the word, I need for you to put some personal understanding behind what you're saying.
And have compassion for the people that you deal with.
Now,
But hold on. We gonna come with that. Well, look, you know what? Can't nobody tell his story better than this young man sitting beside me, Shahiem. Shahiem, welcome to the Hands Off Our Children show today. How you doing today, my brother?
Oh, I'm doing good. So,
Look, he's ready to jump right in.
Jump right in.
it's like the main thing that got my attention just a minute ago. When he was saying that he's been set up, that actually caught my attention because I realized that I've been also set up too. I realized that, when you're praying and when you're talking about God, what are you talking about God about? Like, is it something that, because the things I realized about being set up is that the things in the Bible that people say isn't always what they mean. Even though they say it,
right.
it's always something, it always has a different meaning to what they're actually just saying. So, like, when he said I've been set up, that caught my attention because there's actually things in the Bible that people don't understand. People don't understand these things in the Bible that God actually expressed when he came actually a second time to earth already. This is something that people don't know. And the things that actually I've been heard, actually seen proof about, is something I really have to tell people and let them know about this.
Okay, hold on. We gonna get to that. I definitely want you to get to that. But I want people to know who you are right now.
Right.
Who are you? What has been your walk? How did you get into Christianity? What did you go through? How were you raised? Do you get what I'm saying?
Who is your mentor?
Yeah, bingo. We gonna hit that all the way around the board. You get what I'm saying? And then that's when I want you to deliver your word. You know what I'm saying? So
Hold on. We missing something.
what's that?
You know what we missing?
What's that?
When did you get your calling? Because a bunch of people are called, few are chosen.
That's right.
How do you know exactly your calling is supposed to be meant for ministry and pastoring, or is your calling for discipleship? There's a difference.
So One time, it was in, like I say, 2014, October or so, like the beginning of November. I was standing at the bus stop on Jones and Flamingo, about to go to work at 5 in the morning when I seen this car drive by, and then he just stopped. I was watching him go by, watching everybody, but when I seen him just stop, he made a U-turn, came back, and there's a Wendy's right by the bus stop that I'm at, and he just parked there for a minute. I'm like, well, what is he doing? He's just sitting there. So I had my attention towards him. So the bus started coming, actually. But before the bus came, he came out the car, came up to me with a Bible in his hand, asked me if I ever heard about God the Mother before. I was like, God the Mother? Well, actually, somebody told me about her before, and he used to go to my old high school. So in the Bible, he showed me a little bit of verses about God the Mother. And I was like, well, it kind of makes sense, the things that he was showing me. So ever since then, I was like, well, actually, I kind of do want to do a Bible study with this guy. You know, I'm pretty open to things like learning about new things I haven't heard of before or experienced before. So when he showed me about God the Mother in the Bible, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do a Bible study. I probably can learn so many other things about this. So yeah, I definitely want to do a Bible study from this.
What were you going through before you had that encounter on the bus stop that made you say, hey, you know what, my life is going in a different direction. I want to put my life on the right road, and what this guy is saying to me, it really fits and molds, and it can shape my life.
Well, before that happened, my life was pretty tragic. Yeah, it was pretty tragic. The things I was going through, it wasn't even easy for me to get a job. You know, I'm not just saying for me. You know, it's kind of hard for everybody to get a job. But before I even had this job, everything was like pretty just horrible. I was struggling with every little thing. It took me 3 years to actually finally get this job. And I didn't even get the job on my own. My older brother helped me out with this. But before that, it was just, everything was kind of hard. My dad, you know, he was kind of getting on me because, you know, he thinks I'm just at home, just running up the power bill. You know, I'm just running up bills because I'm not doing nothing else. Even though I wasn't trying as hard, you know, to help them get a job and do what I actually need to do and help my family out. So it was, I say it was pretty hard on my part because I could have been doing a lot more better things than just sitting at home and going to sleep.
But you was unfocused.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, you said that in high school you went all the way, you know, from the 9th all the way to the 12th, but when you got to the 12th, you just dropped out.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, hold on, but what I want to ask you about that is, what would you say to that young child out there that's going from the 9th grade to the 12th grade? You get all the way, that's your championship right there. You right at your goal line. You get what I'm saying? What would you say to a child that gets all the way to the 12th grade and then say, you know, I'm cool?
Well, for like my experience, I say just stay focused on what you have to do. Just have a mindset to get your diploma and do what you have to do to graduate. Because actually, that's like the best feeling for your parents and whatnot, to see you standing up there with your gown, with your cap and gown on and whatnot, and you got your diploma in your hand. That's actually a really good thing to actually.
But what blocked that good feeling that you didn't give your parents that good feeling? I want you to tell your story. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What derailed you from graduating that can help anybody that's listening to this show, our youth and anybody? What is your testimony to them to not do, to stay focused, to get across that goal line that you didn't do?
Because there's a story to the glory.
Right, that's
so,
right.
So if there's
Yeah.
a glory that's on you that we're seeing, then what's the story?
Well, the main thing actually is to not to be so distracted on these things that don't matter, but to actually pay attention and stay focused and do what you really have to do in order to achieve success, actually. Because the reason why I didn't do it is because I wasn't focused and I wasn't paying attention like I should have. I was in class, yes, I was in class, but I wasn't doing what I had to do. I wasn't really listening to the teacher. I wasn't taking notes. I wasn't, you know, doing my homework. I wasn't studying. All these things, actually, I should have been doing from the start. I did this from like.
But what was your distraction?
My
What was the distraction?
my main distraction, to be honest, was women. I say it was women. Yeah.
Okay.
So from them, actually, yeah, I felt kind of desperate back then. So I did want a woman to be with me. You know, she probably could help me out, you know, some way, somehow. So I was actually more focused on them to help me. But then again, I definitely could have helped myself by staying focused, by studying, by doing what I had to do. But they distracted me only because my mindset was set on them.
Oh, let me do this real quick. Let me go to Sunshine. Let me pass the mic to Sunshine real quick. Sunshine, what do you hear in his message right now, and what would you like to ask him?
Well, what I would like to ask him is this: what was your glimmering moment? What was that aha moment that you wanted to learn more about God? You wanted to, understand that.
Search deeper.
Yeah, to search deeper. What was that, like you said at the bus stop, this gentleman came over and gave you that Bible. What was your mindset then? What was that deeper meaning that drew you to God and drew you to want to be a minister?
And made it stick.
To make it stick. That's what we're trying to get to.
So from there, I always wondered, people, they have like questions about God, of course, but I have many questions about God. I have so many questions about God. Like, why do people go to church? Why do they go to church on Sundays? Why do people, why so people believe in God? Why people don't believe in God? What does God have to offer us? All these questions I had, and all these questions that really got to me is because back then my parents, they didn't really like going to church. They go to church probably like once or twice a year. And that made me wonder, like, why is church, like, why don't you guys like church? Why don't you really focus on God? Because, you guys stress over so many little things. You stress about bills, about rent, about all these things. But how come you guys don't really pay attention about God about this stuff?
It's real talk.
Everything that happens is from God. Everything's in God's timing. So if they really paid attention to God and really focused on God, don't you think God will open the way for anything? Anything's possible, especially when you believe in God and have hope for God. So back then, all these questions always had my mind. Why do people go to church? Why do they go to church on Sundays? All these questions, I really wanted these questions answered. So from going to the church and about this Bible study that, he came up to me with, I was really like, I can ask, I want my questions answered pretty much. Right. And I want proof of these answers. I don't just want these questions answered. I want proof of these answers, of these questions. So from there, from back then, all these questions that I had, I really needed these questions answered. So from him coming up to me with the Bible and speaking about God the Mother, I know right there I can ask these guys some questions just from the Bible study. So from the Bible studies, I was going to ask them probably like thousands upon thousands of questions that I have. So from there, I definitely felt like my questions probably couldn't be answered depending on like the answers they give me. So if there's proof to my questions, then yes, I need to see them. I need to know them. So there's many proof actually about it.
Do you ever witness to the youth? Get ready, Mr. Neal, because you ready to get an alley-oop on this one. What I'm setting up to ask him a question right now. Do you ever witness to other children out in the community, at schools, at church? When you on the bus stop, do you take the initiative to share your word, not impose your word on people? I shove it down people's throat. Do you find a gateway, some kind of way, to speak to certain people on bus stops and everywhere? You know what I'm saying? Do you feel the certain tormented souls when you out there and feel like I need to talk to this person?
Yeah, actually, definitely with that, because so many people are actually just wandering in darkness. I even asked them. So, like, people that I even met just walking by me, I just ask them, do you believe in God? Just a simple question about God. Do you believe in God? Do you love God? Do you know God? Do you take the time out to get to know God? These things, these questions that I asked them, some of them they don't believe, some do believe, some don't take the time out to know God. They don't really take the time out to study about God, because the way to study about God is from the Bible. So if they really want to believe in God, you can start off with the Bible, and I can actually help them a little bit from the things that I know now. But then again, all these tormented souls, like you said, actually they really do matter, actually, to receive salvation. Right.
So you're saying that when you said you can help them a little bit, you can guide them with what you know, but you can put them on a road to go seek knowledge. That's
if they want to hear it. I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna shove it down their throats or nothing. If they want to hear it, then they can hear it. If they don't want to hear it, then I'll move on to someone else that needs it.
Okay, Mr. Neal.
So what you sound like? Okay, I got so much I want to say here. I'm trying to simplify it. Do you understand that when I say the metaphor of being like a sheep that has lost the flock and just out in the wilderness? Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes when you are asking for certain questions or asking for certain answers to different things, sometimes you do leave where you are to get to where you need to go. So I believe the guy stopped at the bus stop for a reason. I think everything in life is a reason.
Right.
And one reason constitutes another. Now, this is where I'm at. You know, at what point do you, because you can, like I can see, Cogee can see, because of our Sunshine can see, because of our age. E, we still love you, but you know you ain't got there yet. because of our age,
right.
we understand exactly to know. We can tell when someone's not there.
Right.
We can tell if you're looking for something, if you're searching for something, because it's always that bewildered and perplexed look on your face that says, I want to ask a question about something, but I don't know how to ask it.
Right.
So when you're on your mission, because that's what you're on, I don't know if you know that. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. So when you're on your mission, you do have to have that leadership to be able to back up that word that is where you are. Don't be so, how do you say, so caught up in the moment that you lose the understanding behind what the word's all about. Because just because there's wolves in sheep's clothing does not mean that everybody around you is trying to help benefit the direction you're trying to go into.
Right.
I like that verse. I remember that. But yeah.
Hold on, we got a call on the phone. Rochelle, welcome to the Hands Off Our Children show. How you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. What would you like to say?
Go ahead.
What would you like to ask?
I have a question for Mr. Shahiem. As I'm listening to you all on your radio show, I kind of listen to it every time you all have a show.
Thank you.
But I'm listening to him, Mr. Shahiem. I'm listening to you, and I'm trying to get your story, and I can hear your passion. I can hear your drive for God and what it is that you want to do. But as a person, person that doesn't know about God, as a person that really doesn't understand the difference in the religions and what to believe and who to believe, I'm not really understanding what drove you to really get to know God and what in you knew that, what discernment did you have in your spirit in order to know that the gentleman that stopped to show you about God, the woman in the Bible, and know that that was correct and know that that was coming from God? Because me as a person that was taught that, church is wrong, or on the other hand, that doesn't know anything about God, Jesus, or anything like that, how do I get from you that passion, that zeal, that lust, and that fire to take part of that bread, to eat of that? I'm not understanding that with you. Where at your lowest did you know that you are to be in ministry and to help others see, or to help people along their path?
Well,
I really want to hear that.
Wait a minute, hold on. Rochelle, I want to tell you, that was a very great question you asked. I want you to stay on the line. Don't leave us. Don't leave us, Rochelle. Stay with us. Oh, can you stay with us?
Yes.
Okay, because what you asked, I really want him, I want this young man to step up, and help you to understand. But, welcome. Say hello to Rochelle.
Hello, Rochelle. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great.
All right, now you answer the question.
Okay, now for me, actually, to really get started and to actually start knowing about God and really paying attention more about God is actually when I was a child. So back then, my mom, my dad, they went to church, but then again, they didn't go to church as much as I do right now. They don't really go to church as much as I feel like they should. And because of that, I always wondered, how come? Like, why don't you go to church? How come you don't get to know God? Don't you think God is important? So I always thought that to myself for years growing up. I always had these questions, but no one could really answer them. So actually, when he came up to me about the Bible, about God the Mother, this is something that caught my interest. It just caught my interest. But then I really need to see proof about what he was speaking about. Not just to just say it, but then again, I need to see proof. Because, many people, they need to see proof about, something to back them up, of course. And the proof is actually what helped me out from it. So again, like when I was growing up, I definitely needed my questions answered. So if anything, if anybody could help me, going to any church. I didn't go to many churches. I went to the churches that my mom and dad went to, but then again, they really just got like tired. They got tired in the church. They spoke for like, they sang for like 3 hours, a couple verses in the Bible. They went home, did what they had to do. Now, I say that was probably like once every 3 years or so. So
you always say, you basically saying you always had a hunger for Christianity, but nobody was there to nurture your hunger.
Exactly.
So when you had a chance, you went after it. You get what I'm saying? That's what she's asking.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely had that chance to go after it and to know God, actually. Because, again, like I was very hungry, I was very hungry to know God. I needed this.
How old are you, Shahiem?
I'm 20 years old.
Okay.
It's the purpose behind the hunger.
Right.
And Rochelle, that was a wonderful question. I'm glad you asked it. But it's a purpose behind the hunger. But sometimes when you get fed, you got to make sure it's the right meal.
Right.
So I'm just saying, when you are researching and when you are getting to a certain point in your life where you're learning different things, I applaud you for where you are right now, because of
me as well.
For where you say you came from to where you are right now is phenomenal. My thing is, what's going to set you up for the future?
Definitely praying. I say praying because, again, if you really have faith in God, and if you really believe in God, and if you're really searching for God, don't you think God will be there?
Right, but prayer without works is dead, and prayer without faith is dead.
That's why I have much faith. You must have much faith in actually to have your prayers answered.
You have to have the faith, but you have to have the works. So, you can pray for a job all day long.
But you don't do nothing about it. How are you going to get that job?
Exactly. So that's where the works come in.
Right.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this real quick, and then I'm going to come to you, E.
Okay.
E, Shahiem, with your whole walk, your whole Christian walk right now, what did you lose along the way? Did you lose friends? Did you go through things? Did they call you a false witness? People that didn't understand, did they talk about you on Facebook? I mean, what did you turn away from to be an example to other people for? What's a sacrifice?
Pretty much everything you just said. Friends, I lost many friends, not just because of that, but because of like who I am. I am someone they think is like completely weird. They think I'm different. Okay. Everything I do is different than what many people do. So they think I'm weird. I lost friends from that, and I lost friends because of how much faith I have and how much I go to church. And back then I did lose friends even in school. I wasn't, they stopped talking to me. Okay, then I move on. I'm not gonna talk to you no more either. So I lost friends. Many friends, actually, to be honest. Mainly friends. That's what I mainly lost.
What about girls? Young ladies.
To be honest, like them, I was focused on them, but they weren't really focused on me. So then again, I had to keep moving on.
Because y'all didn't have nothing in common.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. And if they did have something in common, if we were together, to be honest, I only had 4 girlfriends all my life. And 3 of them cheated on me, and 1 left me for her ex. But then again, that's not bothering me, okay? Like, everything, again, happens for a reason. So I'm going to just keep moving on, doing what I have to do.
So you think some of those people walking away from you gave you more time to focus on your mission because you knew that could have been a distraction?
Yep, exactly, because they really had to.
E, what you like to ask?
Okay, you've been on your mission for a few months now, and I'm someone who knows nothing about God. I know nothing about religion at all. What is your definition of the word?
My definition of the word is to actually press on to know God, because God says that actually. He says, press on to know me. And then it says, if you love me, obey my commands. So if you love God, then do what God says. But then again, you have to know God first in order to love God.
Okay, let me jump in real quick, and then Rochelle, I'm coming to you because I can feel, Rochelle, you want some of this right now. I can feel it. Okay, but let me ask this question. I'm gonna set this question up for you, Rochelle, but I'm coming to E with this question,
okay.
And then I'm coming to you, Mr. Neal. You know what I'm saying?
I'm ready already.
But check this out. Now, E said, know nothing about God. I'm not really in the Christian situation. Yeah. I know I exist, and I know I exist for a reason.
Right.
Would you what category would you put that in, E? You're not an atheist.
No.
What category would you give that to? And then I'm coming to you, Rochelle, and you tell me what you think about the overall conversation.
I've never really categorized myself, but
Okay.
if I had to put myself in a category, I would say I mostly relate with agnostic, because
A searcher.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm still searching for what's out there. I don't exactly know what's going on.
Okay, because I didn't want people to get you wrong.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So that's why I asked that question, because somebody could have been left to think, oh, well, he's an atheist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
But you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Rochelle. Y'all ain't know I was going to swing it that way.
Well, I like to go back to the question in reference to religion and what is religion. For me, and I can only speak for me, religion is man-made. You know, in the Bible, it doesn't say religion. You know, let's worship and be. Let's obey what's in the Word. It's living. It has no direct terminology for that. It doesn't matter if it's Pentecostal or anything for that matter. I mean, and I'm not well-versed in the Bible. I can't ramble off any verse, but I know my Father in heaven.
Right.
Does that make me any other or any less of?
That's right.
No, it doesn't.
I agree with you.
As far as the conversation, Mr. Shahiem has... he's going to be approached by many people, and he seems a little bit nervous.
Right.
Nervous in his conversation, and the anointing that he has on him, he can't be nervous in that. Because there are going to be a lot of new people coming to him because he's still new yet.
That's right.
And you have to stand firm in that. And so when people like Eve that are new and they're listening to the conversation, they're getting from the conversation the good, the bad, the ugly about what religion so-called is. But it's not religion, it's God. You're not giving me, because I've gone through so many different adversities in my life, enough to grasp me. But because I don't know anything about God, you can give me what God says versus what religion says and what man says.
I hear you.
God said, come to me and eat and be full.
That's right.
Oh, I see you have your calling as well.
Oh, she ain't playing, is she?
Yeah, she got a
Get
little
down,
calling on her.
Rochelle. Get down. Okay, but now let me ask everybody this question real quick. Mr. Neal, did you want to get what you had to say out? Do you want some of what I'm going to say? Because it's deep.
Well, I already know which way you're going, but I'm going to go ahead and hit you off of the path because I already know you. So I went ahead and Googled religion, because when you start looking at King James Version and all these other different versions of the Bible, it really references the same thing. So religion is based on the belief or worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially in the personal beliefs of God and Father. So it's basically faith, belief, worship, and creed is what you're looking at when you start talking about religion. And when you speak of religion, people get nervous. So it's two things you don't talk about. One thing is religion, and the other thing is politics. Right. Because you never want to bring those two hot topics to the conversation table, because they're very hot. Everybody has their own denomination, their beliefs, and their understandings.
And you can lose somebody along the way.
And
with
you
those
can lose somebody. And when you're losing people along the way, because what I see in you is not the fact of religion. What I see in you is finally having a purpose. There's a difference in saying that I am in this to win it, and I'm in this because I'm religious. Religious has no understanding besides what you stand on as your belief. Right. Now, your belief is what carries you through. But as what I'm looking at is the purpose, and that guy saved your life at the bus stop.
Right.
Again, everything happens for a reason. So like everything in the Bible is actually prophecies. Everything in the Bible actually, like, some things actually already happened, some things are still going to happen. So like for the people that, again, if they don't like want to know about God, they don't really, if it doesn't matter to them, again, it all happens for a reason. But then again, it's like how earnestly I preach. So if I preach very earnestly and really get down to like open their hearts about it with the help of God, then they will be moved by the truth actually and come actually receive salvation. But that depends on if they want to.
So right now, you saying, Mr. Neal and Rochelle, let me ask both of y'all this. I'm going to go to both of y'all with this right now. So y'all see him more or less right now as a prophet than really a young pastor coming with the word right now. You get what I'm trying to say? He's more of a prophet right now, where he's learning and he's putting the word out there. Not calling what you are, but I'm asking them right now, am I right with what I'm saying, y'all?
No.
Okay, well, but I'm only asking because I noticed the way that y'all saying it, so that's why I'm asking the question for anybody else who might be kind of confused too.
He's more of a disciple, where you're grasping for the word to understand the knowledge to be able to carry this word on your own. To put you in the arena with a bunch of fighting dogs and have you having to fight out that religious battle, I couldn't do that. Now, I can step in that arena and go with the religious fighting dogs, because before you ever deal with somebody on a religious level, you have to have what's called that common sense. Everybody they'll ask you a question, but the questions are more or less always rhetorical. So when you sit there listening to what they're asking you, they're just going to keep on talking and answer their own question. But if you're so quick to answer their question, then they're glad to try to trip you up in the beginning.
Right.
A disciple is someone who is sitting there learning how to become that prophet, that apostle, that pastor, that whole 9 yards,
Right.
because of what they've seen and what they've learned.
Right.
But you have to go through that experience
Exactly.
to get to where you're trying to go. So I can give you an example. So being a youth leader and creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 different departments in the church, and writing policy and procedures and opening up 4 or 5 churches, there are certain things that you look for in the youth that I know because of my experience and where I'm at, that I can read you because I can know what my spiritual discernment is. Now, that's a whole different understanding when I open the word spiritual discernment, because everybody has a spiritual gift, whether you like it or whether you don't.
Right.
So, I know what my spiritual gift is. It takes a person going into ministry, such as yourself, to understand exactly what is your spiritual gift, because that spiritual gift helps you draw other people in.
Right. Let me do this real quick. Let me go to Sunshine. Sunshine, what do you think about the conversation thus far?
I think it's interesting, but I would like to learn more from Shahiem. I really would like to see his fire, his passion, and what he would explain to the young people coming in. Like I said before, what was your aha moment that, drew you to want to understand and to want to, tell the youth, hey, this is a good thing, but you don't want to shove it down their throat either.
Right.
But I would just love to see your fire and your passion. And if you're talking up there and you're saying to young people, hey, this is a good thing.
Right.
Okay.
And in your toughest hour and toughest times, what is your favorite Bible verse to get you through, Shahiem?
John chapter 15, verse 1 through 10. Actually, let me go to that. Was it John 15?
What does it say? Just paraphrase it really quick.
Remain in God, and you remain in Him. God speaks in parables. It says, the vine and the branches. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit He prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I've spoken to you. Remain in me, and as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself, and must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I really like that because actually, what was that?
Rochelle.
No, go ahead. I have a question, but I'll wait until he's finished.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that if you really love God and you really press on to know God and you remain with God, God will remain with you. But if you turn away from God, God also will turn away from you as well. So I'm trying to remain with God and really, because I know God has so many things to show me that I haven't experienced yet, and so many things that I need to experience to actually have my eyes open even wider and my ears to open wider, so I can hear things and see things that many people do not see, and actually lead them to salvation as well by the things that I've seen and heard.
Okay, Rochelle.
I guess it's really not a question, but maybe a statement to Mr. Shahiem. But when you're studying and you're going through the Word and you're receiving message and you're conversing and you're hearing God speak to your spirit, and what you may think is a lecture or a sermon for someone else, sometimes that sermon is for you. Sometimes that's God reprimanding you. Maybe that's God talking to you and saying, this is what I really need you to hear. And it's not for everyone that you come into contact with, but there's something that He's preparing you for. And He really, really needs to unction you so that you can get that. So sometimes when you're studying and you're writing it down and it may seem like a really, really good sermon that you can really, really teach this, reread it. reread it and receive it because it's for you.
Now, let me piggyback off there real quick, and she's correct. Let me piggyback why I'm saying she's correct, because what you just read referenced something totally different, but it does equate to what you're saying. But you got to find that reference of the scripture that brings all that into context. Because you are right, he will turn from you if you turn from him. However, you have to, it's a great deal of going through different trials and tribulations before he ever turns his back on you. And he doesn't really turn his back on you. He just lets you do you. Just let you do you.
Right.
So,
Free will.
I mean, my favorite scripture, since we're talking about favorites, is Psalms 91. You know, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide upon the shadows of the Almighty. Basically, I'm being covered. You know, I need, if you're giving a scripture that someone's going to know, give one where they can equate it to themselves. You know, give something that can be a covering for them when they walk outside after they talk to you and say, you know what? I'm going to have to research that a little bit further.
Well, here's one for you. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 28. It says, so Christ was sacrificed once to take away the sins of many, and he will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who are waiting for him. But when people say that God will come a second time, what they say he's going to bring? He's going to bring fire upon the world, right? But in the Bible, it says that he will appear a second time to bring salvation.
Right, but when you're talking, right, but when we're looking at the end of the world, yes, we're bringing that towards the end of the world. But we're bringing it into our everyday life, because if you're talking to E, he looking at you like, what do you mean, the second coming? Because that has no bearing on him, because
he doesn't really know.
Right. So when you're talking to the masses of people, like Rochelle said, it has to be open so everybody can interpret what you're saying. He's lost. I got you. and that's why I'm keeping you right where you on the right track, because when you throw out those scriptures, you have to know how to reel the people back in and say, this is for you because, but that's when the experience come in where you can tell them why the scripture's for you.
Right. And sometimes they just don't want to hear scripture. They want to hear experience that relates to the Bible.
Testimony. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because my experience from not going to church whatsoever and not even knowing about God is something I really need to know. Like, my experience actually brought me closer to God because of the simple fact that I actually had a chance to get to know God from this guy coming up to me with the Bible. So again, before he even came up to me, it's just the things that I really need to know. Like all my questions I need to answer. But my parents couldn't really help me out with that because they didn't go to church themselves. Right. So who can help me? Somebody can help me. I know God can help me.
But see, one thing that they asking you is basically also, what is your pitch to another young person your age that can make them relate to your circumstances and your situation to make them say, hey, you know what? Maybe you do got something right there that I need to check out. It ain't for me, but curiosity will make them go home and open that word and look, even though you thinking, oh man, they wasn't paying me no attention, but you did affect somebody. You affected them with a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You put a spark.
Right. You definitely put a spark in them, and that's what Miss Rochelle and that's what Mr. Neal was saying to you, be more stronger in your word that's more convincing to them. But when you come with your testimony, you heard Miss Rochelle, first thing she said was, but what is your testimony? Yeah. What can make me buy into you if I don't understand you over in this situation of the conversation? But I can hear something over here and she can relate to it and say, wow, well, I had a family member that went through that. I went through that as a young lady. So now she hear you. Now she done bought into you. You get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, it's mainly all the hard times and all the hardships and everything, like the struggle pretty much. It's mainly the struggle. That's really caught my attention. And it really helped me out, actually.
Struggle? What is your struggle?
My struggle is...
Okay.
Did God speak to you in your sorrow? Right. What shook you?
Right. But hold on. Here's what we got to do. We're down to 30 seconds. Miss Rochelle, I want you to hold on. Can you hold on?
Yeah.
Okay, because we coming back in the second hour, and in the second hour, we're going to take 15 more minutes of this, and then we got to get on with our next guest. But you're listening to the Hands Off Our Children radio show. I'm your host, Cogee. We got my man, Shahiem. We're talking about religion. Stay strong. Stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Help! I hate you. I wish you were never born. Open your stupid mouth and drink the milk. You're going to be nothing, just like your daddy. Why didn't you tell me you had to pee? You're so stupid. What are you looking at? You're as dumb as your sister. Dumb as your sister. Get back up at the table now! Look what you made me to do to my kids. Help!
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hands Off Our Children radio show. I'm your host, Cogee. As y'all can hear, as we were going on, doing our thing with our first hour, talking about religion, we got a young man who's in the house who's definitely on his road to do great things in Christianity and in religion. Young Shahiem, I want to thank you for being on again today, man. It's a pleasure having you on the show. It's a pleasure hearing about your journey, getting to where you're trying to go right now. And in the midst of it, finding your way, as Mr. Neal said, finding your way. And as Miss Rochelle said, Rochelle, thank you again for being on the show as well.
Thank you.
And she was saying for you to deliver your message more, to pull the sheep to you so you ain't chasing them. You know what I'm saying? Your word and your voice will call them to you. So I want to go right back to you real quick, Rochelle, and we gonna jump right in where we left off, where everybody already knew where we were when you were saying, okay. I want you to say it again in case somebody's just tuned into the show, when you were saying, okay, but what is the catch?
I had to write this down as you all went to break because, I commend him in what he's doing and getting closer to God. However, we have to know what your struggle is. Back to the question that was at the beginning of the show, at the start of the show, who are you? You cannot just tell someone the struggle, it's the struggle, and not reveal that struggle. You have to be able to relate and walk in your past trials. You are placed in someone's path for a purpose, just like the gentleman was placed for you at the Wendy's. That was God. You will be placed in someone else's path to reveal your struggle, to bring them to the Word. But until you are ready to embrace what you call your so-called struggle is, reveal it. Embrace whatever trials and tribulations, no matter how trivial you think they are now, to someone else, they are monumentous. And you have to be able to walk in that and know that your past is your past. When you became and were created anew, that is your past. Now that becomes part of your word. So that way you relate that into the scripture so that you're able to capture someone else. Know who you are. Walk in what it is God had you to walk in to get to where you are now.
But that's still purpose, and that's a great thing that you just said. I'm just adding that on. That is purpose.
Because he was set in my path. Think about it. Nobody else even noticed him in the restaurant but me.
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say? Like he illuminated to me.
Right.
Sitting there, but he'll tell you in shade, we all was talking. Jay, nobody paid that no attention. But to me, he was very intriguing where I kept looking over at his table like, he is really blocking us out, like nobody's in this restaurant.
But that's experience, though.
Right.
That's experience from two different levels,
right.
From a spiritual level and from a father level, from
right.
a fraternal level.
Right.
You're looking at this young man sitting there doing something that you don't see too often.
That's right.
So, whereas E and Shay they're around his same age.
Right.
That's something that, hey, he's doing his thing, we're going to do our thing.
Right. It wasn't personal.
It was nothing personal.
Right.
But his struggle is what we were talking about, and Rochelle's was talking about just a few minutes ago, is what he has to reveal to draw people to him, because you'll never draw anybody to you unless you let them know, like Rochelle said, who you are.
Right.
Now, I'm looking at you. Rochelle's not looking at you. I can read you real well and know you need a spiritual mentor. But you need to explain to the masses exactly who you are to attract them to follow the direction you're going into.
Well, I'm gonna go back to the past, actually. Okay, so again, my struggle was mainly about school. So in school, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't focusing. like I should have. And my mind it wasn't really, I'm not, like, it was even hard for me to pass my proficiency. Actually, I passed my math and science, but I failed my reading and writing. So it's kind of hard for me to read. Not really, it's hard to read, but understand what I'm reading sometimes. Other times, comprehending. And like writing too as well. I failed that because of the fact that sometimes when I'm reading, I get off topic of what I'm writing. Sometimes when I'm writing, I'll get off topic of what I'm writing about, even though I should go back and reread it over and over and over again. Although in my mind, I have it set in a different way. So, like, again, for the struggle, again, I almost just gave up. I almost just gave up in everything I do. I started to change who I was and my appearance and...
Drugs, alcohol?
Yeah, to be honest, I started doing that as well. Like,
that's a testimony.
Right. That's the insecurity, too, that you have to acknowledge.
Go ahead, Rochelle.
Yeah.
What was going on at home or lack thereof at home? Mom and Dad, you said they didn't go to church, but where did they go? They were always at work. They weren't home. They weren't home nurturing. What happened there?
Well, at home, actually, my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom. She didn't really, she didn't have a job, but my dad, he had a job, and he was working like hours. Like, he was working a lot of hours. So he was mostly gone a lot. He was in construction though, so he was building stuff and whatnot. But my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, so she was mainly helping us do what we had to do, help us stay in school, help us with the food, and other things. And it's just it's kind of hard on her part because she was doing most of the stuff, even though my dad was working, so he was help paying the bills and stuff. It's just it was kind of hard back then because every time we go 3 steps forward, we always got taking back 10 steps. It's just kind of hard, trying to move forward without getting pushed back. But then again, we just gotta keep moving forward. But then it's just really hard because everything's just getting piled down. Our lights getting cut off, our phone being cut off, hard to connect with other people, and like my family members. Like one of our family members died back then. We was on Savannah Falls. It was
so
nice.
It was a tense home life.
Yeah. And like my family, like we love each other, of course. It's just sometimes it gets so hard because, my sister, she kind of does. I wouldn't say drugs, but I don't know if marijuana is a drug or not. Yeah, she does. She does that, but she does it just because she wants to relieve her stress. So she tried to calm down, but that's one thing I used to do myself. But it really made me realize that from that, like physically and mentally, it made me realize that I can't really do that. That's not gonna help me.
So you found a new way to medicate yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely found a new way.
But that's what I was trying to tell you. That the sheep is lost in the flock. So when he's hungry for something, and when anybody's hungry for something, somebody always steps up. But you just got to know if what steps up is right for you and what's not right for you. And then once you find that out, you have to figure out exactly where you are in life and which direction you want to go in. So just be very careful to walk because it could be hindered by just the smallest thing. And to you, it's so traumatic, but it's not really that traumatic. But because you're young and you're thirsty and you're running after it, you think that God is going to punish you for something that you've done. So just be I say charismatic is wonderful, but just make sure that you have that level common sense to know exactly where you are and trying to find out who you are and find that mentor that's going to put you where you need to be.
Speaking of mentor, who are some of your mentors and who are some of the pastors right now that you look up to?
Well,
let's go with that first. Who are some of the pastors on TV and everywhere that you look up to right now?
Oh, for them, I don't really pay attention to them mostly because some of them I don't know. The main one I do know is the one at my church, even though I do need to experience, going to other ones and seeing what they do and how they do it. And like the main one I look up to right now, his name is Deacon Anthony, and because the way I look up to him is because he's actually a very humble guy. It's just the things that happen to him, he's really humble about it. He doesn't really complain about it mostly. He doesn't grumble about it. So I look up to him because I can learn from him about being humble myself and actually not really complaining about things that happen and grumbling about little things that happen, and staying positive in everything I do, because he's like a very positive guy too. And like everything, like every outcome that happens upon him is very positive. He always thinks the positive ways.
So what church do you go to? Go on and give them a shout out. You can invite people to it and everything, because we down to 2 minutes.
Okay, I go to the World Mission Society Church of God. It's on Jones and Enna, and it's just like, yeah, that church is truly amazing to me, because so many things. It's just like the things that we go on, like when we keep the Sabbath, it's all rejoicing in it. There's no problems whatsoever. If there's kids crying like there usually is, screaming and whatnot, we tell them, yeah, of course, be quiet, you know. And then they get tired, fall asleep, and then we watch videos, and we watch sermon videos. We study the Bible. That's mainly what we do. We study the Bible. Sometimes, like, we eat on the Sabbath. We go out preaching on the Sabbath, and then it's just amazing there, because it's no negativity whatsoever. It's all positivity in there.
Do you have a Facebook or anything where people can reach you? So if somebody heard this message right now and they said, man, I want to link up with Shahiem, you know what I'm saying, for the right reasons, you know, where can they find you? Where can they get you at?
To be honest, they can find me on Facebook. I do have a Facebook. I was thinking about deactivating it a couple times.
Now, is anything on your Facebook that's going to detour your whole word right now? Right. If so, don't give out your Facebook. Right. You on there like a Chippendale with your shirt off and this, that, and the other. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Is it anything on there that's going to discredit your walk?
But hold on, I got a question for you before you ask him that question. What did you mean contact him for the right reasons or the wrong reasons? What's the difference?
Well, what if somebody seen this video and said, oh, he looks like this. I want to get with him or whatever. No, that ain't why we doing the show, to get with him on something like that. Get with him on knowledge to move forward in life. That's what I'm talking. When I said that, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay, because no matter what, if he's prophesying to being a minister or whatever, that's his whole life, and that's what he's gonna be. So even if you try to get with somebody like that, that's a deterrent because of who they are.
Right.
And right or wrong, was your Facebook looking like the Chippendales?
I would have never said it if it was. I was like, nope, I don't have a Facebook. But then again, that's fine.
Hey, you know my team is over checking your Facebook right now. So I'm just telling you, whenever we got somebody on here, they over checking their Facebook right now. And if Shay look over at me and do one of these,
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I do have
and
a
Jay,
Chippendale picture on.
you do have.
That's right.
So look, you checking your Facebook right
now. Because to be honest, like somebody else
get them old pictures off of there.
Yeah, you better do some deleting.
No need to delete. I know I have nothing. I shouldn't have anything if nobody. All
right, so what we got to do? We got to wrap this up. I got my next guest in, but Shahiem, I want to tell you thank you, man. Look, you're welcome to come back to this show. We do it every week, every Wednesday from 2 to 5. You're more than welcome to come through and be a part of what we're doing, man, and definitely to bring your word, you know what I'm saying, and put your word out there to people, man, and let people see you in the light that you want to be seen in. You get what I'm saying? But in the walk of your glow, be that glow and watch your step, man. People are always watching to discredit any of us, man, who's out there trying to put this word out there. And all we trying to do is make the world a better place, man. And we still get under fire. With me or anybody else, it's always somebody that's going to say something negative. Or somebody's going to talk about your past. Right. And that's why it's called Our Past. And that's why they're stuck in the past. They stuck. That's why they talking about us and where we are right now. Oh, I remember when he used to be this. Well, okay, but I'm showing you something different now. But what about you? Right. You got to always have in your head, I'm not who I used to be yesterday, no matter what you say.
That's right.
No matter what you say. Yeah, I was that person. My hands up. I'm him. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not that person no more. I'm in a new walk. I got something else going on. Hey, if you liked me then, roll with me now. If you hated me then, I can be a help to you now. Now we can sit down and mend fences, and I can, you can see what I'm about. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so actions speak louder than words. So I don't really like to say much. I just like to show it. So if they realize that I changed, and they can see it, and if they don't realize, then then I definitely try to make a better impression.
And
to
keep praying for him, bro.
Yeah,
Keep
of course,
moving.
of course.
Keep moving.
I gotta keep praying.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show today, man.
right.
We got much love for you. And
Good
like I
job.
said,
Yes, sir.
we here every Wednesday from 2 to 5. If anybody out there, you got a testimony, you want to come through, you want to talk about something that can make the world a better place. You want to talk about your testimony and your walk and what you've been through. I mean, this show ain't for ratings. This show is to save lives. If you know what, if we do good shows and we get shows where people are being delivered and people are being about that change, the ratings gonna come anyway because that's something that people need. So far as with me, I always ask the universe and my higher power, just help me put out a good word to somebody that means something. You can judge me on whatever you want or however you want, you know, hey, but bless you. You know what I'm saying? And I hope you can find your way through your bitterness. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So again, man, I want to thank you, man. You know, you definitely illuminated to me in the restaurant that day, and that's why I brought you in, man. So this is working for you because it says when you in my word, you know, people will know you from your voice, you know, and when they see you, you know what I'm saying? They'll know God through what you say.
Okay.
You didn't have to say much. It was the way. What's that? You giving me
No,
that
I'm
look?
about to say, preacher. Boy, you doing
No,
a good job over
but
there.
you know, no, but it's something that you said earlier, and it's
Right.
true. Everything that he's reading, he illuminated that day to me.
Right.
But that's through his word of God.
That's correct.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's how he's sitting here now.
No, I ain't mad at you.
Right.
I'm liking what you're saying. I'm
There it
agreeing with
is.
you.
Well, I thank you for allowing me to be here. Actually, yeah. 'cause
Well, don't make
actually-
it your last time.
That's
Well,
right.
All right.
and, bring your mentor with you.
Yeah, bring your mentor next time,
Yeah.
definitely. All right, so everybody, we're going to take a break real quick. We got Miss Tamia Dow,
Oh,
who's
my
going to be with us in a minute. And when I say she bring it raw and real,
Raw and
she's
real.
no stranger to the show, not by far. She's a loved one. She's a family member. She's going to talk about the LegalShield. There's a lot of things, as y'all see, that's going on in the news right now. And one thing that people don't understand, whether you doing the crime or the crime is done against you, you're going to need an attorney. So we're going to talk about that right now. She's going to break it down to us. She's a retired, see, I got it right this time. She's a retired police officer out here in Las Vegas. And she's one of my loved one and my friend, and Mr. Neal. She's a greater loved one and friend to you because you
Yes,
brought
sir.
her to me. And she's been with us ever since.
Wonderful woman.
Right. So hold on, real quick. What do people got to be ready to be in store for when we bring Miss Tamia Dow on?
I think you need to get your pencils, your paper ready. I think you need to sit down. Don't stand up. Sit down, because what
Sit
she's
down for
going to
this
tell
one.
you is going to be so powerful, it's going to knock you out. So
That's right.
I need for you to have a seat and write it all down. And you know what? Don't just write it down. Bring a friend and sit with you so you can go ahead and take notes with them.
There it is.
Share the word.
And Rochelle, I want to tell you thank you too. But Rochelle, you don't have to hang up. You can be a part of the show if you want to, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it, but I do have to go.
Okay, well, we appreciate you. And your words of encouragement real quick to Shahiem.
Continue to press forward. If you feel that you fail or you fall short, know that the better test and the better trial is to get up and try it again, despite what anyone else says.
That's right.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So
You're
everybody
welcome.
stay locked in and stay tuned in, and we'll be right back with the second half of the Hands Off Our Children show with Miss Tamia Dow. Like I said, you might not need an attorney, and we pray that you don't need it, but you just never know what's going on in life. We're going to show you how to get prepared for it,
Yes.
what to do. So what's that saying? You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready.
What?
You know what I'm saying? So here it comes. We'll be right back, everybody.
Well, as you all just heard, we've taken a commercial break. I just want to thank all my guests and all our Hands Off listeners. And to my team, y'all know my love runs deep, and I thank you all.